The 2025 NTT IndyCar season is upon us, ready to bring hard, fast-paced, adrenaline-fueled action to all its die-hard fans. But perhaps you're not a fan. Maybe you're a NASCAR F1 guy that's looking for something new. Maybe you saw one of IndyCar's new commercials featuring some of their star drivers and thought, hey, that looks cool. Who knows, maybe this is your first time ever hearing the words Indy and car in the same sentence. No matter your motorsport knowledge or background, the fact is, trying to watch a new series you know nothing about can be pretty overwhelming. That's where this video comes in. This is the Racing Fanatic's guide to the 2025 IndyCar season. Join me as I give you the rundown on everything you need to know to get started watching and introduce to you what I believe to be the greatest motorsport in the world. This is the fastest racing on earth.
They're all desperate to get by, but Lundgaard desperate to try to get to pit lane and see if he can stay on the lead lap.
Now Palou trying to defend from Alex Rossi behind Kyle Kirkwood. Callum Ilott in line there.
Now, I'm assuming that everyone knows how a race works, but let's just go over the basics just so we're all on the same page. The cars are lined up 2 by 2, side by side at the beginning of the race. These starts are almost always chaotic, with everyone trying to gain as many positions as possible. But after a few laps, everyone begins to fall into line and settle down a little. Usually. When they don't settle down, what usually happens is a crash, bringing out the yellow, aka the caution flag. This allows for the track workers to safely make sure the driver is okay and clean up the track so they can go green flag racing again. When they do start racing again, the drivers start single file rather than side by side like the start of the race, but that doesn't mean they're any less aggressive. Once the driver who is leading completes the full race distance, the checkered flag is waved and the driver is deemed the winner. Everyone understand? Good, because if not, you're on your own. Now, let's dive a little deeper. Let's talk about the cars for a bit. The current chassis, the DW12, is designed and manufactured by the company Dallara in collaboration with Indycar. Each team purchases the chassis from Dallara and then leases an engine from one of the 2 engine manufacturers, those being Honda and Chevy. Now, the DW12 chassis is well over a decade old, and that might seem like a long time, because it is, but that doesn't mean that the cars aren't always improving. Since the DW12 debut, several changes have been made to the aerodynamics package of the cars, including the aero screen, which helps protect the drivers' heads from any large impacts like rolling or flying debris. And just last year, they debuted a hybrid power unit that allows for less toxic emissions to be put out and a special feature that allows for more overtaking opportunities. More on that in a minute. Another crucial part of these cars I'd like to quickly go over is the tires. Now, one might think it's simply put a new set on and go, but it's a little more complicated than that because, well, there's 2 different types of tire. There are primaries, commonly referred to as blacks, and alternates, also known as reds, due to having a red sidewall to differentiate the 2. The reds are usually the quickest tire with more grip, but they do wear a lot faster than the blacks do. The blacks don't wear as fast, but in return are also not as fast as the reds, or at least in theory. Neither tire is perfect for every track, so one race weekend the blacks might be the best tire, another weekend the reds might be the best tire. It all comes down to track surface and track conditions. These tire differences help add another layer of strategy to the pit stops and a little more drama to the entertainment factor of a race weekend. Now, let's go back to that special feature for overtaking I mentioned earlier. Okay, there are actually 2 special features for this, but they both have the same outcomes, just with different ways of getting there. First, there's the push-to-pass system. The drivers can press a button on their steering wheel. Doing this lets more fuel into the engine, adding about 50 horsepower, giving the driver an extra boost. But it can only be used for 200 seconds per race. The hybrid system has the same effect, except rather than using fuel, it uses a battery to add more power. The system uses the kinetic energy that is produced from the car when it's braking to recharge the battery, and unlike the push-to-pass system, they have unlimited use of it throughout the race. Alright, I know everything I just said might be a little confusing, so I'll make it simpler. Hybrid system gives a boost, push-to-pass system also gives a boost, but only for 200 seconds. Red tires are fast but don't last long, and black tires are not as fast but last longer. Oh, and the cars don't have power steering. That's important. I should probably mention that. Okay, now that we're done with the cars, let's look at something a lot simpler, the tracks. There are 3 types of tracks that the IndyCar series races on throughout the season. road courses, street courses, and ovals. Road courses are your standard permanent racetrack that most race series use all the time, and on their own are nothing special. Street courses are temporary tracks where they put up safety barriers on public roads and race through city streets. These races are very chaotic and are always a blast to watch. Oval tracks are, well, they're ovals. They might not look like much track design wise, but they can be a beast to drive and absolutely mesmerizing to watch. The tracks for the 2025 season are as follows: Streets of St. Petersburg, Thermal Club, Streets of Long Beach, Barber Motorsports Park, the IMS Road Course, the Indy 500, the Streets of Detroit, Worldwide Technology Raceway, Road America, Mid-Ohio, Iowa Speedway, the Streets of Toronto, Portland International Raceway, Milwaukee Mile, and the Nashville Superspeedway. This gives the race calendar a good mix of all three types of tracks, requiring the drivers to be very versatile in all types of different race surfaces. Taking one track from each category, I'd say the big three are St. Petersburg, Laguna Seca, and of course the Indy 500. St. Petersburg is the season opener and a perfect one at that. With its tight turns lined with concrete barriers and its long front stretch, it's the perfect recipe for an exciting race weekend. Laguna Seca comes later in the season, and it's one of the most iconic road courses in motorsport. With both high and low speed turns and drastic elevation changes featuring its iconic corkscrew, it's a track that tests the driver's abilities to absolute perfection. And finally, the Indy 500. Though only 4 turns, it's by no means a simple race. The Indy 500, you can go from having the best day of your life to the worst in a matter of seconds. From zero to hero, even if it's the only race you ever win. If you win the Indy 500, your face is molded into that shiny silver trophy and your name is written down in the book of racing immortality, forever known as legendary. It's the largest single-day sporting event on the planet, broadcast globally for all the world to see. Drivers coming in from different series like F1 and NASCAR to see if they can get a taste of that sweet Indiana milk. Ask any IndyCar driver, if they can only win one race this season, what one would they want it to be? They will all tell you, the Indy 500. Speaking of drivers, let's head into our final topic. The teams and drivers, these are the stars of the show. Even with all the iconic tracks and blazing fast cars, without the drivers, you have no entertainment. None. Nothing to follow, no personalities to watch, no drama to get caught up in. Without the drivers and teams, you essentially have no series. And that goes for all racing. So let me just list off all the teams and their respective drivers so we have an idea of who's who and where. Andretti Racing has Colton Herta, Kyle Kirkwood, and Marcus Ericsson. Chip Ganassi has current champ Alex Palou, Scott Dixon, and Kiffin Simpson. AJ Foyt Racing has Marcus Armstrong and Santino Ferrucci. Aaron McLaren has Pato O'Ward, Nolan Siegel, and Christian Lundgaard. Dale Coyne has Jacob Abel and Rinus VeeKay. At Carpenter Racing has Christian Rasmussen and Alexander Rossi. Goes Hollinger Racing has Connor Daly and Stingray Robb. Yes, that's his real name. Meyershank has Marcus Armstrong and Felix Rosenquist. Prima has Robert Schwartzman and Callum Ilott. Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing has Graham Rahal, Devlin DeFrancesco, and Louis Foster. And Penske has Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, and Will Power. Penske, Andretti, and Ganassi are sort of the big three of the series. Their drivers always subject to the question of, will they win the championship this year? Now I could sit here and give a very detailed analysis of every driver and their stats, personality, performance, and the such, so you can pick which one to root for, but that would take way too much time, and frankly, I don't feel qualified enough to give an analysis of every single driver. So if you're planning on watching and don't know who to root for, just pick which car you think looks cooler. Inevitably, over time, you'll start to learn more about the drivers and your opinions on them will change, and so will who you root for. So when just starting out, it's best not to worry about it too much and just find a car or even a name you think is cool and just go from there. If you made it to the end of this video and are excited for the start of the IndyCar season like me, you can find all the races on the Fox Sports network of channels, as well as Indy Next, IndyCar's feeder series. There's unfortunately no streaming options for IndyCar as of now, but there are rumors of one in the future. The NTT IndyCar season kicks off this weekend, the race happening on March 2nd, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the streets of St. Petersburg. I want to try and cover this season to the best of my ability with race recaps, giving my thoughts and opinions. I'd also like to cover another motorsport or two this year, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like and press that subscribe button so you never miss an upload. This is the Racing Fanatic, signing off.
Palou trying to go down the inside of, I think, Christian Lundgaard into turn 4. A little bit of contact there. Everybody getting...
Oh, no, I think Lundgaard's got a flat right rear on the 45.
Will Power, Marcus Armstrong, Scott Dixon.
Puncture.
Puncture is the call. Well spotted, T-Bell. This is the Hy-Vee Honda.